Hey everybody, how's it going? How's it going? Good to see you all out there today. This is Coffee to You and Me, and I am Coach Powell. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of our wonderful weekly planning opportunity, executive coaching, group coaching profile, whatever you want to call for small businesses. We put this together every single week to create more opportunities for the business leaders and the leaders that we get a chance to impact and touch. And we bring the rest of the world in with us. So today's I don't have anybody with me in the studio audience today, but today's episode is super special in a couple ways. One, we're continuing in this ongoing exploration of the VisionQuest 90 process and what the VisionQuest 90 process is all about and how it works. And we find in creating this process is a synergy between planning, between community, and between literally coming up with all of the things you need to make sure that your business ideas and the thoughts that you have can be executed properly. Now, most of you know me, I'm a coach. And so, I'm an execution specialist. That's my job, is to help people really get down to the actions required and then move in and starting to move those actions forward in a way that'll be most meaningful, no matter where they are in their business or leadership profile, so to speak. So today we're again going back to the planning process. And for those of you who've been following along in your VisionQuest 90 logbooks, there are some efforts to download that in the chat right now. So if you haven't had a chance to download the VisionQuest planning process and take a sneaky peek into some of the documents that we share there, go ahead and do that. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can have it right now. I'm not asking you to subscribe to anything. I'm not asking you to do anything except for, don't keep us a secret, right? Make sure that if you get a chance to tell people, where you got this from or whatever, you subscribe, you like, you share, you do everything you can using all the social tools that we have right now, which are Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, to spread the word, spread the gospel of the VisionQuest process, so that others can begin to understand how easy it is to really, really create a dynamic planning program or process that they could use for themselves, for their companies, for their teams, for their organizations, that is magical and that will hit all the high notes, everything you need to do to make sure that you're completing, not just planning, but completing that plan, executing that plan, synergizing with that plan, using the plan, not just letting it sit up on a shelf somewhere where you don't go back and get to it. But and it could be a one pager, it could be 5, 10 pages. It depends on what you need to have in the plan. But the VisionQuest process highlights all the things, all the tools, all the processes that you need to put in place in order to execute well in any plan that you come up with, right? So let's get into it today. Today we're talking about, we're going to finish up what we started talking about last week, which was generally, what are the 7 clear benefits of the VisionQuest 90 process? What does it do for people? Why should you even think about sharing this amazing idea with others? One, we went into the first 5 of the 7 benefits last week. We talked about clarity and focus. We talked about efficiency and productivity. We talked about enhancing your decision making. We talked about improving communication and collaboration. And we talked about having a greater impact and a legacy. This week, we're going to finish it out, and then we're going to get right into some of the mindset ideas that you have to have in order to really, truly embrace any good planning process. So let's get into the last two ideas, which are increasing motivation and engagement, and then having a competitive advantage. When you get this done right, it's a fait to complete. You're going to have the ability to increase and motivate others in ways that you did not before. You're going to be able to engage and create engagement with others in the ways that you did not before. When you begin to align your vision and your mission with the personal values and habits of others as you move along, they're going to experience a greater sense of fulfillment and motivation. That's really what it boils down to. It's your ability to speak to the values and habits that people already have and tie that in to the vision and mission that you're dealing with. When you do this well, people can see themselves in the process. They can start to identify for themselves in your process. They can be able to see how your process can help them be even more of who they are, even better at what they do, right? But you have to do some homework, right? In order to do that, you have to listen exceptionally well. You're listening for the people's whose values and ideas automatically will line up with your vision and mission. So you ask them. That's how you get there. You ask them really quickly for themselves. Listen, if everything was perfect and you could work in any environment, you could create anything you wanted to create, what would you do? And then let them talk. They're going to tell you about their passions. They're going to tell you what they care about. And if they don't, you can ask them, why did you say what you said? Is there something that's driving that thought? So something that's driving that motivation or those ideas. Eventually, you're going to uncover the things that they need to do more of and the things they need to experience more of in order to grab a sense of fulfillment. And all you didn't have to do is tie that in to what you're doing. This creates the kind of team empowerment and the kind of motivation where team members all understand that they all identify with this brand, they all identify with this process, they all identify with this movement in the same or similar ways, right? Which helps them to basically fall in love and trust each other faster. But when you have people that are so divergent in their thought processes or different than the team in terms of their values, right? I'm not talking about um, what they look like, right? I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the diversity of thought, um, but not in values, not in habits, not in mission critical um, focuses that are important to you to get to the larger mission. You know, you want people who care. You want people who are committed. You want people who have demonstrated excellence in whatever their area of expertise is and value excellence in others. You know, you want to be able to see those kinds of values pop out, that kind of character pop out in your interview process and your exploratory processes in identifying your targets for investment or whatever it is. You want to be able to do that so that you know that when you share that vision and that mission, then you're going to be able to easier create that synergy that you're looking for. And you're going to be able to easier create people are going to want to work with each other. They're going to want to be around each other. They're going to enjoy each other. They're not going to want to compete with one another. They're going to want to support and collaborate with one another, which we'll get into a lot more of that a little later on. Now, again, that's just number 6 of the 7 benefits, right? The 7th benefit you're going to have is a larger competitive advantage over anyone else who might be in the same space, who might be in the same industry, might be coming from the same point of view that you're coming from. All right. Why is that? Because the alignment that you created creates that distinct and uh, cohesive identity, which again, it differentiates you from the organizations of your competitors or the teams of people that may say they do the same things that you do, but they certainly don't do it the same way that you do it. And they don't certainly don't have a team that is as committed and as connected as you do. With a team like that, you can go further faster. And that becomes a savings of not just money, but also time. And it increases commitment, which is about how trust is leveraged. And so when people see your team, moving forward even through difficult tasks, but continuing to be resolute and strong in terms of moving themselves forward, what tends to happen is people agree that this is the right group, this is the right team, these are people that we want to back. These are the people that we want to see. These are people that we want to invest in. These are people that we want to connect to, and it becomes easier for you to recruit new team members. It creates because you're building an image and a brand that resonates with the right kinds of people, and it makes sense for them to want to be a part of and to join your group. Again, you're going to have a lot less, greater retention. You're going to have a lot less people jumping ship and moving on or stealing ideas and all that kind of good stuff. You're just not going to have a lot of that going on. So you can have an atmosphere where there's tons more trust and tons more um, opportunity that is driven from within. For instance, you'll get more creativity and more innovation going because people are going to trust each other with their ideas, and they're going to be able to build on the ideas that they share with one another. And because they understand the broader context of the goals that you're trying to achieve, everybody's has incentive, um, just intrinsically, of bringing their best. They don't have to be motivated by bonuses or carrot and stick them. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff because people will be so tied and so connected and so bonded toward the greater mission. This takes, though, a certain kind of leader with a certain kind of mindset. And if you grab this mindset, you're going to be able to have sustainable growth, more resilience, and meaningful impact in any organization, communication, community, or target market that you want to play in. It's all going to be much easier for you than those who kind of flounder around trying to fake it till you make it, bumping into this, that, and the other. You're going to be strategic and focused, and you're going to use your insight and wisdom, along with the insight and wisdom of others that are value added and trusted, to come to the table and bring you what you need to bring to move forward quickly with speed and clarity, really. So, what is this planning mindset that I'm talking to you about? Before I get into the details of that, I want to share with you a quick poem by John Wesley. Now, for those of you who know John Wesley was the major thinker, during the Protestant Reformation, that really broke further away, took Protestantism further away from the Catholic Church and more to the hands of the people, where they began to be able to experience for themselves without going through an intermediary the value and the purpose and the meaning, the power and the passion that is Jesus Christ, right? And so Wesley was a great man in this regard because he made Christianity much easily accessible to the lay people, and that helped it spread to the West, even here in the U.S., in a big way. So here's what John Wesley would say: do all the good that you can, by all the means that you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Wesley was all about doing the right thing in every way that you could do the right thing. And so, as a leader, it's no wonder he was able to embolden and impassion so many people um, in his lifetime to start to see a whole movement of Methodism take place in the U.S. and then throughout the world before he passed away. See, Wesley understood more than anyone at his time the importance of fully committing to any effort or mission. When you are fully committed to whatever it is that you're doing, you're not tiptoeing into it, right? You're not putting the toe in there. You're not just, I'm just going to put a little small marginal effort. No, you're going all in, right? You're finding that reserve energy, that extra push, that super juice that you need to have in order to move things along. And in doing so, Wesley gave us sort of a blueprint for igniting and inspiring the passion within ourselves and amongst our teams and in our communities. Now, developing what I call the passion planning mindset means you got to do a couple things. One, you got to ask strategic questions. Two, you got to be great at fact checking your thoughts. Three, you have to adopt a growth mindset. And it's much easier to adopt a growth mindset when you need to understand the power of other types of mindsets outside of the growth mindset. And you need to, for number five, do quick team building activities. You got to be able to do that exceptionally well. So let's get into it. Asking strategic questions. When you can ask the right kinds of questions, you begin to identify the challenges, the opportunities, and the ambiguities of your current situation. Getting the answers to these questions allow you to formulate effective strategies and then address them. For example, you can ask questions like, how can we strategically position ourselves to enter a new market? What are the potential risks and benefits of launching a new product or service? How can we leverage our strengths and overcome our weaknesses? These kinds of questions are not the only questions, obviously, but they're the right kinds of questions to begin to ask yourself to open up and explore all these opportunities. And if you're doing it with your people, even better. You know, you might want to go into a room for a day and call it a retreat, right? Where you put up on the whiteboard and you started using a technique. I love a technique called brainwriting, which is different than brainstorming. Right? But brainwriting allows you to get even more ideas out on the table and ask more questions and create more synergy around various types of ideas. And you come out of a brainwriting process with tons more examples and tons more ideas and innovative strategies than you'll ever come out with on a brainstorming process. And so it becomes the quality and the quantity of ideas all coming together, where people can actually get their best thoughts and ideas out without being interrupted or by superseded by somebody else who has greater power or authority in the organization or has positioned themselves just to be a loudmouth in the meeting. Whatever that is, you kind of get all that gone and you just deal with straight. These are the best ideas. These are the most prolific ideas. These are the quantity and the quality of the ideas come out harder, faster, stronger than brainstorming strategy. But I'll talk to you about that at some other point in the future. But when it comes to planning, part of your planning is asking those strategic questions and getting the answers to those strategic questions. And that those answers are often in the minds of your people. And we'll talk to you about why it's important to pull it out of them when you want to. Now, when you've gotten the ideas and understood that what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, when you're going to do it, right? You need to fact check all of your thoughts and assumptions. And sometimes there are ready resources that you can go to get meaningful qualitative and quantitative feedback. But what you want to do is challenge any harmful or limiting beliefs that might hinder your planning and execution process. So you want to find out what they are. You want to find out what those biases are. You want to challenge those biases, understand them so that you can deal with them, right? And put them in the appropriate places. It's like I have clients who may have hired someone under the assumption that they can do this thing or the other thing, right? So they have an expertise, they have a talent, they think the person can do what they said they could do on their resume, in their interviews, even in the references from friends or other organizations or people that might have known them, have sort of padded the information in a way that, or positioned the information in a way that it's not readily accessible what this person's weaknesses are, but just their strengths are out there, right? So what happens is you get hired based on the strengths. The person gets hired based on what they perceive the strengths are. Not that the strengths aren't there or aren't real. It is that sometimes the weaknesses will overcome and conflict with those strengths and make those and really negate the strengths at all. And so when you're fact checking every assumption that you're making, right, you really have to consider and ask yourself, are you dealing with thought-based evidence or assumptions, or are you dealing with facts? You can ask yourself, how does this affect my actions and emotions? Because you got to think about those things too. What alternative perspectives might you consider? Again, fact checking is more than just going, oh, let me check into what I can hold tangibly in my hands and prove. It's also, what are the real emotions here that are part of this process, whether I believe it or not? And the way to think about that is envision, okay, what if this idea fails? How am I going to perceive it? Is it going to be a personal failure? Is it going to be a failure of the team? Is it going to be a failure? Am I blaming it on the outside? How do I know how I'm going to feel if this doesn't go the way I think we should go? And you gotta face those realities, because if you're thinking that you're going to be depressed, or you're going to feel defeated, or you're going to somehow beat yourself up about it, and you got to come up with mitigating strategies when that happens, so that you know that even if that does happen, you know what to do, so you can keep moving forward, right? This is why I try to help people understand that wellness and is everything. Because if you don't know how to recover quickly from whatever obstacles that you face, and you will face tons of obstacles, a part of the recovery process is reminding yourself that you're strong enough to get through. You're strong enough to make it through. Your team is strong enough to make it through. And your ability to even talk yourself off the ledge, even an imaginary ledge, right, begins to give you the power and the identity and the self-efficacy that you're going to need when you do face an obstacle that might be challenging, or that might could even be overwhelming, right? But you got to begin that process before you get started. Number three, adopting a growth mindset. Okay, let's explain what a growth mindset is. You have a growth mindset when you can embrace learning and feedback, and then view failures and setbacks as opportunities for improvement, right? If you're all about the learning, if you're all about the appropriate gathering and the assessing of feedback, and you're looking at failures not as much as setbacks, but as opportunities for improvement, then you're on your way to adopting a growth mindset. You need to have the ability to ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How can I apply this learning to my future plans? And what can I do differently next time? If you can ask yourself those questions, right, in the middle of all the haze and the fog and the feelings of failure and all that kind of stuff, then you can get back on the horse, and you can move forward a lot faster than if you just get stuck in, I wish this didn't happen. I didn't want this to happen. Oh, woe is me. Oh, why did this happen to me? You can take yourself into that downward spiral towards depression and anxiety, or you can adopt that growth mindset and ask yourself, okay, what do I learn? What did I learn? How can I use this moving forward? And just asking the question is telling yourself, I'm moving forward no matter what this is. Right? This is not going to defeat me because I'm moving forward. Right? Number four, when it comes to having that mindset that you need to have to really, really plan and put the right plans in place for yourself and for your team is you need to have an understanding of the other types of mindsets that might exist. For instance, and by the way, these are innumerable, right? What we know about is from a psychological point of view, we know that there's a fixed mindset, there's a growth mindset, and that there's a benefit mindset. But I'm going to tell you, your mindset is often based on your personal experience. The last time you had a major incident or a setback or a triggering event, right? And your ability to recover and overcome from that. It's sometimes a matter of your perspective. If your perspective is one, because for instance, all of us play various different roles in our lives. And if you look at everything that you're doing from one or the other roles, right? So I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. I make a lot of business owner and entrepreneurial decisions. But if I put my father hat on or my husband hat on, and I look at how this decision might affect the stakeholders, being my wife and my child, I may come up with some different ideas about how to approach this. If I put my community leader hat on, even as I look into my business opportunities, I may go, "Oh, how can this business possibly affect the community? Can I hire some people? Can I create some more internships? Can I do more to create positive change in the area I live based on how I embrace or how I think through this opportunity?" So your mindset can be a matter of your perspective. It can be a matter of the roles, looking at it through different lenses, through eyes that you may have. But let's just say it's just a fixed thing, right? If you have a fixed mind, that means you kind of don't, you're not interested in growth or learning. You're not interested in actually change at all. In fact, you want everything to stay the same. You're coming from the mindset that this is the way it is, this is the only way it can be, and this is what I have to deal with, right? Now I gotta tell you, fixed mindset not very healthy in a growth environment, right? And every environment is growing, every environment is shifting and changing. I love that term shift happens, right? It does happen. So you have to make sure that even if you have a fixed mindset, you need to grow beyond that. You need to check yourself on that one and try to figure out how you can do other things. I also like the benefit mindset though. The benefit mindset says, I'm so looking forward to these benefits that I'm trying to achieve, that I want to have for myself. I want to be able to be, do, and have something that I can't be, do, and have right now. All right. I'm so looking forward to that, that I'm driving towards that. Now, often when you have a benefit mindset, you're seeking the benefit and you're seeking the benefit by any means necessary. And that's not necessarily a way to go, right? But it may be a way to keep you or get you back on the horse in terms of recovery from any kind of incident or any kind of um, minimum level of energy, right? Reminding you of the benefits and how important these benefits are to you, how important the benefits are to others, other stakeholders that you may have. So your mindset is a very, very powerful thing. But an indication of your mindset might be how you answer a couple of these kinds of questions. For example, when you ask yourself, how do I react to challenges and how do I react to feedback? That might give you a window on types of the mindset that you currently have and that you might want to change, right? How do I cope with uncertainty and change? How do I contribute to the well-being of others and the planet? You know, and how does this contribute? How does this idea contribute? How does this plan that I'm instructing contribute? How is it helping me cope? How can I how can I react based on these thoughts and ideas? The more you kind of think through them, the more you kind of codify, write down what you're thinking to the best of your ability, go back, reflect on it, write down some more. You're going to have more solid ideas and more grounded thoughts and processes in place. Number 5, the last thing you wanna do to make sure that you have the right type of planning mindset is you want to be able to do with your team these quick team building activities. Brain writing is one of the things I talked about, right? But you also want to have exercises to help that you foster collaboration and communication. You want to have exercises that they're ready to help you create and then solve problems, create more opportunities and then solve problems at the same time, right? You want to have activities that help you begin and get into new project initiatives. Things that require logic, strategy, or even trivia are great tools to spark the energy you need to have to build your team and have your team start to react and act together in an activity that helps them find their rhythm with each other and helps find their way to be and collaborate with one another. These team building exercises are critical because you're going to need them to be able to trust each other through whatever future obstacles may come. And if you've done these exercises, you've done them well enough, what's going to happen is your team is going to be great at critical thinking. They're going to be great at logical reasoning. They're going to be great at strategic thinking because you've put them through the exercises that help them develop the proper mindset. All right. Their self-reliance on each other is going to be greater. They're going to have internally more self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-efficacy. And all of this is going to lead to more and more and more effective planning. Right. But if you do this kind of stuff regularly that I'm talking to you about, you really think through your mindset regularly, and you make it a habit to reflect, you make it a habit to do all the things you need to do, then you're going to become a supercharger in everything. It's going to affect every aspect of your life. There's no separation between business and personal. I don't care what people tell you about that. You're going to be better at everything. You're going to be greater, period, because your thinking is going to match up to your possibility, and your possibilities are going to be endless. I hope that you guys got a lot out of this. If you haven't, I'd love for you to think about um, the mindset that you have in your business and the ways that you're improving upon that mindset to make you even better at planning and executing whatever that you're planning and executing. Because if you don't take care of this, if you don't take care of the thinking process, I got a feeling you're going to get stuck in a fixed mindset and opportunities are going to pass by you. You're not going to be able to grab those opportunities. You're not going to have the resilience that you need. You're not going to have the effectiveness that you need to truly grab the opportunities that come right in front of you. Forget stretching and leaning into finding and identifying opportunities that might be a challenge for even you to identify. Because you're just going to give up. You're just going to quit. And I don't want you to. I want you to be there for yourself and for your team and for your families. And I think that you can. If you need any help with any of the things that we talked about today, yeah, my number is buzzing across the screen right now. You can pick up the phone. You can give me a call. If you think this program was challenging or interesting or effective in any way, shape, or form, please don't keep it a secret. Please share it with others. I want to build a bigger and bigger and bigger community of people who get to collaborate and see each other and talk to one another. Somebody out there, Dashy Dash, good to see you. I see that you chimed in and you stayed hanging there with us. I really appreciate you. Thank you for doing so. You're watching us on YouTube. That's great. That's great. I got a couple other people watching us on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So you guys are all amazing and wonderful. I'm so appreciative of you. I'm going to sign off now and hope you have a great weekend. I know I'm planning on having a wonderful weekend. God bless you all. Hang in there. Oh, next week we're talking about, we're getting deeper into the planning mindset. We're going to give you a checklist of how you know your plans are good. How do you know your plans are effective? How do you know your plans are efficient? How do you know that you have the right planning strategy going so that you don't waste your time? You had to fix some things before you even plan it, right? So let's just go through the checklist together and we'll come up with some of the reasons why your planning is most effective. And then the next couple of weeks after that, we're going to start to get into the other parts of the VisionQuest 90 planning process. Going through the planning process, now we're going to talk about, the importance of uh, balance and alignment. How do you find synergy? How do you make sure that you're bringing the right energy in the right times and the right places so that you're not wasting, a lot of effort on things that you probably shouldn't be wasting your time and effort and energy on. You're going to love the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to get into the community, how the community really is affected by all that you do, and how you can make sure that effect is a positive one. Okay. So off we go. You guys had a great time. I know I did. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.